Hello everyone, welcome, bienvenue, Sego, Tanzi, Tangunasit. Please let us know in the chat if you can see and hear us. This is an info session dedicated to the PRATIC-approved programs offered by the Mcgill School of Continuing Studies. My name is Nadia Lefter, and I'm the program manager in the technology and innovation domain at the Mcgill School of Continuing Studies. Today, we are gathered in the Joraga, also known as Montreal, the territory of the indigenous peoples, including the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe nations. We will now play the video of Mcgill's land acknowledgement. Just for that. To ensure a better quality of just 1 second. We're good. To ensure a better quality of the connection, we recommend disconnecting the VPN and other applications you are not going to use. If you have any questions throughout this presentation, please type them in the chat. Vous pouvez poser vos questions en français si vous voulez aussi. We will have a Q&A session at the end. When sending your questions, please select to everyone or to all panelists so that we could all see them and your question is not missed. When the session is being recorded, and you will receive the recording link within the next few days. Our presentation will cover the following topics: the industry trends and employment opportunities, the partnership that Mcgill has with PRATIC, the programs that we offer that qualify for this funding, and the Q&A session. Our panelists are, my name is Nadia Lefter, as I mentioned. I'm the program manager and I'm the moderator of this session. Professor Elisa Schaefer, who's the Academic Domain Director of Technology and Innovation. Dr. Heng Lao is our Senior Faculty Lecturer for Technology and Innovation. Johnny Martuccio is the Student Records Manager. And Vanessa Carrillo, Admissions and Convocation Administrator. I will now pass the microphone to Dr. Elisa Schaefer.
Hello, thank you all for your time. I'm going to try not to take up too much of it. I just briefly want to explain why it would be a potentially beneficial idea to take any of these programs. First of all, computer science is touching pretty much every imaginable industry these days. And even as its own, companies like Google or Amazon or Microsoft have a strong presence in many countries and also increasingly so in Canada. Especially the regions of Montreal and Toronto and Vancouver, they're all kind of like trying to gather up tech talent. Among the most rapidly increasing demand in job descriptions, we have developers. And another thing that we're going to be addressing today that are cybersecurity architects. For developers, those are the people that make the software you use. And the security architects are the people trying to make sure that nobody accesses data that's not supposed to be accessed. The programming languages used these days for developing software are diverse. JavaScript is still very popular. HTML and style sheets for web development, SQL for backend stuff, database access, Python for both backend and frontend and information security and many different applications, and other frameworks rising. This is a rather well-paid position. These are median salaries for web developers last year. The original data was in USD, but Nadia was kind enough to show us the Canadian equivalent. And this being median means that this number is a salary that's half more than half of the people will match or exceed. So you're in the middle of the salary range if you're making this amount of money. So there are people that make a lot more, but half of the people make at least this much. This is Stack Overflow data from last year. When we make a web application, there's two different things that need to be developed for this. The front end is what the user is seeing, what you're interacting with on your browser, on your computer, or on your mobile. And then back end is the stuff that's running on the server somewhere. These days, it's almost always a cloud server. Like, it's not the company's computer. It's a very large computer farm, so to speak, that owned by someone like Google, Amazon, Microsoft. So what do the front end developers do? They need to take usually a graphics design meant to be attractive and useful to the user and develop this as interactive content so that when users look up products or post their selfies, this information will be sent to the backend. And then whatever the backend responds, the likes you're getting, the comments you're getting, or the improved price on the thing you wanted to buy on a web store will be displayed in real time to the user. On the back end, what's going on is that we have databases, we have disks, we have processors simultaneously working with all of the requests of the multiple users, ensuring that the information is not lost, it's correctly stored. And at the same time, we need to secure the access that no other device or connection is able to access this information. Like when you send the purchase to a web store to their site, that nobody else is getting your credit card information, nobody else is getting your address, and that nobody could modify the order to have your things delivered to their house instead. So the programs that we are going to be presenting today match all of these different things going on in providing this kind of a service or any other kind of software service, really. So there's a lot of demand last year still for web developers. The full stack backend and front end, they're all being requested by companies. And the best combination is knowing at least a bit of both. The highest amount of demand is for people who know both the backend and the front end in the developer atmosphere. Then the cloud side is the where do these services actually reside? Where is the computer that is responding to your request? Where is the computer that's showing your Twitter, Facebook, whatever? So that's increasingly in the cloud, not a company owned, but like another corporation owned site. And this is very rapidly increasing. The data that we're looking at is from 2008 to 2020. And this growth is not going to stop. So professionals that are not interested in making web service or making it work on the back end, but are interested in providing the service of making these things happen, that's also an increasing industry. So you could either be making the services or you could be providing the hosting for these services. So cloud computing companies, the biggest ones that pretty much everybody is aware of, there's Amazon, Google, Microsoft. In Asia, Alibaba already has a pretty big footprint as well. The majority, almost all companies are either on the cloud or wanting to be on the cloud at this point. And it offers really good flexibility, pretty good resilience. The problem is that when the cloud goes down, everybody's services are down simultaneously. And that's why you need professionals in cloud computing site reliability to make sure that when Amazon has troubles, that not every single thing you want to use on your phone is unable to respond within, like, let's say, hours, and that when there is an outage in Facebook or Twitter, that this recovers quickly, since a lot of companies are relying on the same exact cloud provider. The impact of a cloud outage is pretty severe in terms of an economic disruption. So basically, now if you want to walk on the security side so that nobody else gets to infiltrate in some way, corrupt or do bad things with other people's data, this is an even better paid profession. If you would like to be a chief information security officer, you're totally going to be making more money than me. The average salaries here are in USD. And it's pretty easy to get to 6 figures when you have a cybersecurity expertise. So the kinds of things we can help you become are cybersecurity project managers, information security analysts on the lower range, And then when you start adding more skills, you could combine one program with another and work experience, you will be able to go into these top categories within a few years.
Thank you very much, Elisa, for this overview of the industry and the technical skills required to build a successful career in this field. I would like to ask Johnny to provide us more details on PRATIC and the School of Continuing Studies programs that are eligible for this funding.
Thank you, Nadia, and thank you, Elisa, for the information. Bonjour et bienvenue à la séance information pratique. At any time, you can ask us your questions in French. Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Johnny Martuccio. I am the manager here for records registration. And at the same time, I'm also the liaison person who deals with Service Quebec administration and with some of the agents that you will have to contact. We've been running this program for the past year, but we've added some new programs which will be coming up this fall. So let's just take a look at the programs that we have. So the programs that we have that are approved for PRATIC are the first two certificates we've had for the past year, which is Computer and Information Technology. And then we also have the Applied Cybersecurity. And the two brand new programs that we will be bringing to the PRATIC family are the Professional Development Certificate in Full Stack and JavaScript, and the Professional Development Certificate in Cloud Computing. Some common features for all programs. So eligible for PRATIC funding, all four are. You have to be a full-time student, so you cannot take these programs part-time or you will not get funded by PRATIC. You can take them part-time and pay on your own and take the programs with us, but for PRATIC, you have to be a full-time student. The courses can be taken from the comfort of your home, virtual or online, which basically means that you do not have to set foot on campus here. Everything is done at home. So you will need the proper equipment at home, like you will need at least a laptop, a computer, headsets, and so on and so forth. This is a practical approach taught by experts in the field. Most of our courses are offered on weekdays from 6 to 9. And we do have in two of our programs where we offer Saturday courses. But not all our programs have Saturday courses. So it's just important that you really go on our website and you find the information and to not get confused that we offer courses on Saturdays for all programs, because we don't. The start date, again, we have different start dates for different programs. Well, two of our programs, the start date is August 29th, or the week of August 29th. And two of our other programs, the start date is September 5th. The other common feature I just want to mention is that all your fees are paid by Service Quebec, and that is done directly between Mcgill University and Service Quebec. So you don't have to pay us and then you get reimbursed. That's all done behind the scenes. So let's take a look at the four programs that we have here. The first one is Certificate in Computers and Information Technology. There's 10 courses in this program. And if you start in the fall, you take 4 courses in the fall, 4 in the winter, and then 2 in the summer. So it's 4-4-2. The courses are offered usually from Monday to Thursday, and it's 6 to 9. The delivery description, multiple courses offered in parallel, just like I explained. The duration is 10 months. It starts the beginning of September, and it usually ends mid-June. So the 2 courses that you will be taking in the spring, it's the spring session that we're in now, the courses are condensed. So instead of 13 weeks, it's really 6 weeks. And this is a credit program. The second program is the Applied Cybersecurity, which also is another program that we've been offering for the past year. The same concept, 10 courses. Courses are offered from Monday to Thursday from 6 to 9. It's a 4-4-2 concept. You take 4 courses in the fall, 4 in the winter, and then 2 in the spring. The same duration. They start at the beginning of September, they end mid-June, and they're credit programs. The 2 new programs that we will be offering starting this September. The first one is the Certificate in Full Stack JavaScript. It is also 10 courses, but the courses follow in sequence. So it's one course after another, except at times, as one course ends, you will have another course that begins. There's a bit of an overlap. The total teaching time is 12 to 15 hours weekly, and independent studying time per course. This duration is 6 months. It starts in this starts in the beginning of September as well, and it ends around mid-February. Our final program, which is also brand new, is the Certificate in Cloud Computing. This one is only 5 courses. The total teaching time is 12 to 15 hours per week. There's also some work you have to do independently on the side. And this program is only 4 months. So again, it starts in September and it ends around December.
Okay, so now let's revisit which one of these programs is for which kind of a profile. So the first one is the most general one. If you don't really have a tech background, but you would like to get into the field of development information technology, this is a good place to start. So what people learn in this certificate is how software is developed, what are the usual tools for this, how to make sure that services provided by software are reliable, how do we put these things in the cloud, and what are potential security pitfalls in creating a software solution. Then the second one, this is a little bit more specific. This is if you want to specifically go to the area of ensuring security, safety, integrity, reliability of systems in like a in a sense of encryption, of authentication, different kinds of information security aspects. So what's done here is how do you learn to identify possible threats? How do you learn to counter these threats? How do you ensure that a software or a system that's providing a software service is in fact secure? And much of this information can then be used to get certified in different aspects, which gives more kind of like visibility to the knowledge that you have when you have certifications in the field of cybersecurity. So the first one's good if you just want to get into software. The second one is good if you want to specifically get into cybersecurity. If you don't have any computer background at all, it doesn't mean that you cannot do the other programs. It's just an easier way to get into a field that you haven't encountered before if you take a more general one first. Of course, we cannot guarantee that PRATIC is going to keep going year after year because we don't have control over this. But if it does keep going, then it would be in our interest to let you kind of take one first, then potentially a second later, but it doesn't depend on us. Like whether you can enroll in PRATIC many times, it's a government thing, it's not up to us. But if you take one with PRATIC now, we can explore future options on how you could take the second one later on as well. So I'm going to pass it over to Vanessa that she can discuss how to be admitted to these 2 programs, the credit programs, and then we'll talk about the other 2 programs. And then I can also answer Christian's question on what's the difference between the cloud and security when we've already talked about the cloud. So Vanessa, go ahead, please.
Thank you. If you want to be admitted into one of these 2 credit programs, you have to know that you want to be funded by the PRATIC, you have to know that you have to go through 2 applications, one with the PRATIC Service Quebec agent and one with the School of Continuing Studies for admission into this program. What you need is basically you have to be 21 years of age. If you're not, you must have a DEC. And also you have to prove English proficiency. Proving English proficiency can be through a DEC, or if you have done some kind of test like Duolingo, TOEFL, or IELTS. You have up until July 1st, so you have the next 2 weeks to apply for these programs. Even if you have not received an answer from your agent just yet, apply for the program so we can start that process. And if you're interested in the funding, apply at the same time with your agent from Service Quebec.
Elisa, you're muted.
Sorry, I'm so bad at unmuting. So now for the non-credit programs that are being offered under PRATIC for the first time, We have the full stack JavaScript development. So if you're interested in making web services, whatever people can click on their computers and their phones, this is the thing for you. So we're going to be covering the both aspects of how to make the front end, how to make the user interface that people click on, and what happens in the server. That's usually a cloud server. What happens in the database? Where do all these things go when people post videos on TikTok or photos on Instagram? Who keeps track of which users are supposed to be watching which streams, etc. So this is the program for that purpose in particular. And then the second one, sorry, I'm getting ahead of things. These ones have specific admission requirements. I'm going to pass it back to Vanessa for a moment for the full stack admission requirements.
Yes, so for the full stack admission requirements, you must pass a programming aptitude test to be admitted into the program. As soon as you apply, you're going to see there is a link. You're going to be able to complete the test and pass it. Once you've passed it, you can be admitted into the program if you're older than 21 years of age, or if you're less than 21. If you have a deck and you pass the program aptitude test, you're going to be admitted. You have up until August 15 to make up your application. So you still have some time, but do it as soon as possible.
And now for the cloud one. So on the non-credit side, you could either be in this is the service that we're providing that people are using, or the business of providing the service to provide the service, which is the cloud computing part. So this is an interesting program, and this is the shortest one. So this is basically you can run through the whole thing in a semester. So if you're in a hurry to get to the job market, this might be a good way to proceed. So what do you become when you do this cloud computing certificates? The idea is to give you the concept of how do cloud services work in a specific context of how do the current providers do these things, how do you set them up, how do you configure them, how do you make sure that they're working properly. And we're also going to be touching an important topic, which is the Devops, which is a kind of like, how do you do the cycle of when you have a service that's already running and you want to make changes or improvements to it? How do you get those changes to go to the live version and then kind of like get diagnostics of how the live version is working and take that back to the development, the cycle of how to run something and work on it at the same time, as well as a very important task of site reliability engineering, which is trying to kind of maximize the uptime of the services so that there is no downtime, there is no breaks, and the clients of the cloud service do not see that anything would ever be wrong. So if something breaks in the back, you just kind of hot swap something else. You have enough redundancy so that the service is not interrupted regardless of something possibly being on fire. So you're kind of like trying to be the curtain between everything's okay here, everything's okay here, so that the customer doesn't notice that there's a disruption. Even if the power goes out or internet provider has trouble, you try to make sure that everything's always up. So admissions for this.
The admissions requirements for this program are a little bit more in depth. If you want to be admitted to this program, you're going to have to prove that you have some kind of experience in the field or that you have the academic background. Most people in this program have a bachelor's degree in computer science or a related field, or a DEC in computer science technology and 2 years minimum of experience. If you don't have any of those two, but you have experience in the field, you can still apply. You send us your diplôme d'études secondaires or your high school diploma and a CV with a minimum of 5 years of professional experience in the field. Like the other non-credit program, you have up until August 15 to complete your application for this program. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. This is our contact information. In case you would like to reach us, we recommend including the word PRATIC in the title of the email when you send it to us. And we shall now move on to the questions.
I'm just going to add something because I'm just reading some of the questions and just what Vanessa had mentioned before. So it's important that if you want to join any of these PRATIC programs, step one is that you need to speak with Service Quebec, an agent, and that agent needs to accept you because there's certain criteria that you have to meet with Service Quebec that have nothing to do with Mcgill University, right? You need to be unemployed and so on and so forth. You need to be right for the program. They ask you a bunch of questions. I think there's an application to fill out. Once you have spoken to your agent and your agent gives you the green light to become part of the PRATIC initiative, then you need to come to Mcgill and you need to apply to one of the programs. Once you apply to one of the programs and we admit you, if you have all the requirements, the proof of English and so on and so forth, at that point, there are no documents to fill out. Everything is done online. So we have access, just like the agents do, to a portal, which is through Service Quebec, and everything from then on is done online. So the two steps are speak to your agent, get accepted, come to Mcgill, apply, get accepted, and then everything else is done online. Once you're admitted, Vanessa can answer some of those questions, but you will be sent a package on how to register, what to do next. If ever you have any questions, that's where you call us. And I think we posted the number, which is 514-398-6200, and the email. And then everything else is done online. So just thank you. I just wanted to clear that.
Vanessa, do we have a link for the programming aptitude test? Because there's a questions about what it's like, how to do it, what are the questions like. So any info you have on that would be super appreciated. I haven't even seen the questions myself. I'm pretty new here.
We do have a link to the aptitude test. We will post it in the chat.
Can you take it several times? I'm not sure on this. So if you take it once and it goes poorly, can you take it again?
No, it's
Go ahead, Nati.
sorry, go ahead.
The test, you can take it once and it's valid for a year. It's a test on 100%. So if you pass it with more than 60%, you pass the test. It takes a few hours, if I remember correctly, to complete the test, and it's to look at your programming skills that you have acquired in your prior experience, work experience.
Oh, I would also like to answer to the question that if you're not eligible to PRATIC, of course you can apply. The PRATIC is a funding part. So these programs, we offer them to the public. Of course, they have a cost. So if you require the financial assistance, PRATIC is a very easy option because there's an established process for you to get this funding. It is not impossible to find a different funding source, a scholarship, but this is a very good straight up way that the government has set for people to be able to get the funding. Many people do this self-funded, and when they're doing it self-funded, they do it usually in a part-time fashion, that they only take one course or two courses per semester, and they take longer to complete. And also to the other question of if you don't have programming experience or knowledge, can you join? Some of the programs, yes, I would recommend the computer and information technology as a starting point for people who don't have any programming skills whatsoever. The credit programs, you do need to have some programming experience because you need to pass the aptitude test for the, correct me if I'm wrong, the full stack one. And everything's of course easier if you know how to program. Programming is both easier and harder than you think. You can get started pretty easily. You can write in a search engine, free online tutorial Python, and you will know how to program in a month from now. But to kind of like gain expertise on it, that's going to be easier when you're already in the program. So we don't expect people to be professional programmers when they start off, but none of these programs are designed to kind of like, well, the certificates in information and computer, what would you say, Hang? Which one's the best if you don't know how to program?
Yeah, both are fine. If you're talking about the credit programs, the certificate in computers and information technology, and also the certificate in applied cybersecurity, both are fine because the program will teach all participants to how to program as a beginner level. Even though it's called beginner level, it is extremely challenging. Just to inform everybody, because computer programming by itself is an extremely difficult task, even for any beginner. So that's something that we should keep in mind.
I just want to answer. Sorry, I just want to answer a few questions I see in the chat. One is, I've heard that if the tuition's costly, they will not cover it. Is that right? So that's wrong. So we have a signed agreement, a signed contract with Service Quebec for our 4 courses. They know what the fee is for our 4 courses, and the cost will be covered. The other question is, there's a few students that are asking, can they transfer program? So my answer to that is, you always need to speak to your agent, because with Mcgill University, you can transfer programs. Normal students that take courses part-time, they can transfer programs. But will the cost be covered from Service Quebec? And that's a good question, but you have to speak to your agent, because they're the ones that decide if you can transfer programs. They're probably going to ask why you want to transfer programs, how many courses you've done. And then the other question I saw is, if I complete one program, can I do another program? Once again, you have to go and speak with your agents, because Service Quebec are the ones that are paying for your tuition. Service Quebec are the ones that will be financially giving you money every week, and not Mcgill University. So just be careful on rules and regulations, because Service Quebec have specific rules and regulations concerning the PRATIC program. If you can transfer, if you can continue, if you can do 2 programs, maybe all 4 programs, I don't know. But then there's a set of rules from Mcgill University on, getting admitted, how many courses you can fail, and so on and so forth. So just be careful. And my answer is, always start with the agent, and then from the agent, come and visit us. And if there's anything that's not clear, we will contact Service Quebec, the administration, or we will contact your agent. Thank you.
I would like to answer a few questions that I see in the chat. So first of all, whether there will be these programs will be offered in winter. So I just want to mention that the winter schedule will be available as of October 1. So this is when you can go on our website to check what is offered in winter. And also, I just want to remind the admission deadline for applied cybersecurity and for computers and information technology. The admission deadline is July 1. And for the full stack JavaScript program and for the cloud computing program, the admission deadline is August 15. And there's another admission related question, maybe Vanessa could answer this. How much time does it take to process an application at Mcgill once they submit it? On this way, they submit all their documents.
Once you have applied to Mcgill, and if you submit your proof of English proficiency and everything is ready, in under a week, you can be admitted. By experience, we do know that most applicants need to prove English proficiency if they're applying to the 2 credit programs, the cybersecurity and the computers and information technology. Most students choose to do the Duolingo because it's cheaper, it's faster, it's online, and we receive the results electronically from the institution. I would tell you that is the most popular one. If you apply and then do the Duolingo, it takes up to 2 weeks for you to complete the exam and for us to receive the results. So between 2 and 3 weeks after your application.
Thank you very much. I just want to highlight that for the full stack JavaScript program and for cloud computing, there's no requirement of a language test. Thank you.
There's also a question on, is there limited space? And the answer is yes. So we do have limited space from the government. And so what I would say is, we're in the month of June. Courses start end of August, beginning of September. You have about 2.5 months. And so I would probably say to you that if you want to get into these programs, like, now is the time. June, July is perfect. do not wait till August, because by that time we don't know how many spaces we will have remaining. So the sooner you speak with your agent, the sooner you apply, the sooner you get your response, then the quicker you get in, and then we move on from there.
We have a question on the situation when the student misses their class and whether they can just watch the recording. So Elisa, would you like to answer this question?
Yeah, I was answering it in the chat also, but the chat goes very quickly because there's 153 of us. So most instructors actually record all of the live sessions so that you can watch them later on in the learning platform. And it's a good idea to remind the instructor to do so. Many are entirely willing to do so, but they have to click a button for this to happen. So just remind them. And if they seem reluctant to, you could request them. So basically, the programs have been designed in such a way that you're kind of expected to attend these sessions, but we understand that you're human beings and you sometimes cannot. So it's not like a life and death kind of a situation if you sometimes can't attend the class, but it would be nice for you to kind of like try to make that time slot available in your schedule. And then when you can't make it, if you can remind a classmate or the instructor that you unfortunately can't make it so that they could record it for you, that's a good thing. So be a little bit proactive about it. But generally, most instructors already record or are happy to do so. And it's a good idea to, even when the classes are on the internet, you sometimes don't really get to know your classmates. But I would recommend trying to connect with people like in the first sessions so that then you can make these little pacts. Like, I'm not feeling well today, can you send your notes to me, and kind of like to keep each other informed. It's much easier to study online when you have like a study buddy within your group, even if you never ever meet them.
Just
Thank
one of the
you.
questions. One of the questions I want to just answer quickly is concerning Quebec residency. So in fact, in order for you to be eligible for these programs and Service Quebec accepts you, you need to be a Quebec resident. And so it's not as easy as just being born in Quebec. There's like 14 different situations. For the people who have asked that question, what I would do is we should take this offline. You can either email me, you can call the front line, and we can sit down with you and go through the 14 different situations that you can prove Quebec residency. Thank you.
I just want to add, because there were a lot of questions on the aptitude test for the full stack JavaScript. It's not a test on pure programming. It's more a test on skills, on logical thinking, and we do not really require you to know how to program before joining this professional development certificate, because for this program, anybody without a degree or experience in programming can be admitted. So I just want to clarify that it's not an extremely difficult test to pass.
I'm seeing a lot of questions that have to do with admissions that are specific cases of where people have their diplomas from and what qualifies as English language proficiency. Can we, Nadia, maybe share again the slide with the contact info or copy paste it to the chat so that when people have a very specific situation, it might be more helpful to send an email detailing your specific situation. And if you can put in the subject field of the mail that this is about Pratic, it's going to make it a little bit faster to get your mail to the correct person. So if you're interested in admissions requirements, you can send the email to this admissions.conted@mcgill.ca, attaching the information that you need checked. The website will answer many of the questions that you have about how long does this take, what are the exact courses. And of course, you could technically pop in here. We are setting up a way to give also in-person support. And for the people asking if there's like a laptop loan program, we unfortunately can't provide laptops to all of the students. We are, however, looking into the possibility of how exactly we could allow access for PRATIC students to come use some of the computer labs, but this is work in progress. I cannot promise this to you, but if you definitely struggle with laptop and internet access, I will be happy to look through with you what options are there of public spaces where you could access a computer near your home, where you could have internet access, and we will try our damnedest to make sure that everybody is able to do this.
I would also like to add to what Elisa said. So again, I would strongly suggest to people to speak with their agent, because last year, Service Quebec not only paid for the textbooks and materials that were needed, but they also help students buy laptops. So they're not going to buy you a laptop, but there was some funding for laptops. It's not something I can comment on because I don't know what the fee is or what the fee was, but you should speak to your agent and your agent will be able to provide you with some of that information. But I do know that for the cohort we had last year, the Service Quebec gave them up to $300 to buy a laptop. But again, they will ask you questions about it. So please communicate with your agent. And I just want to follow up with what Elisa said. It's very important because we have a whole team here, both in admissions, registration, and records. And if you have any concerns or any questions, please call us, please email us, and you can come and visit us at 680. If you want to do it in person, you can come and visit us. And it doesn't matter what questions you have, how many questions you have, what you need to know. We'll take the time to help you. And that's what we're here for. So don't be shy to call us. Don't be shy to email us. And please don't be shy to come and visit. And if it takes us 45 minutes with you, then it'll take us 45 minutes.
Okay, a couple of questions from the chat. There's a question on the group sizes. I believe they're around 30 maximum per group. Am I correct?
Yes. So right now for the two new programs we have, there's 30 maximum, correct?
Okay. And then the other question about deadline for winter applications. Do we already have an approval to repeat this again early next year, or is that still pending?
Are we talking
Anybody
about
know?
PRATIC?
Yeah, if they don't want to start now in the fall, but they
Yeah,
would
so
be interested to start at a later time, what does this depend on?
So right now we have a 2-year, we just signed a 2-year contract with PRATIC. So we finished the first year. So we have 2 more years starting in September 2022. So if it's not this fall and it's not next winter, you can start again fall 2023 or winter 2024. We have a 2-year contract with them.
Somebody was asking about the validity of these certificates internationally. So I just want to highlight that these programs are offered by Mcgill University, and they are subject to the same academic control and approval and revision. So they follow all the same standards as a regular bachelor and master's and other programs at Mcgill University.
And also when you finish, you get a diploma, like you graduate, there's a convocation ceremony and then you graduate. So basically you just listed under your education. I'm getting more questions about the winter 2023 deadlines. When would we be able to, like, I guess that follow us on LinkedIn and we would be letting people know in what month, Johnny, if we are able to admit again in the winter?
So,
It depends for which program. I think Vanessa, you have already the dates for the 2 credit programs, correct?
For the 2 credit programs, the applications are already open for the winter session, so you would need to choose winter 2023 at the time of your application. The applications are open up until September 1st, but most likely will be extended up until October 1st of this year. But if you already know that you're interested in the winter session, apply as soon as possible. For the 2 PDCs, programs, we will post those deadlines and if they're open for the winter session online.
Yes, and the
Yeah.
schedule will be available after October 1, the final schedule.
Yeah, so especially if you want to do something soon, but you can't start in September, the cloud one, for example, Nadia, we scheduled it to start again in January, right?
Yes, that's the
So
intention.
we have one intensive cloud generation this year, and then that one graduates, and the second one starts early next year.
Yeah, once again, someone's asking a question about do we have to pay the tuition? So once again, once you have given us all your documents and you self-declare that you're in Quebec, then the fees will be handled between McGill University and Service Quebec. But we will be sending you all the information. Once you've been admitted, you will receive an acceptance letter with registration information. And again, at that point, you can call us at any time. If you have personal concerns about your own student record, just contact us.
For those joining late who have questions, the recording will be provided to all of the registered participants. So that's an easy way to get a glance at all the information that has been covered before. For anything that has to do with I'm already in Pratic and I want to change, or I'm already in Pratic and I want to do another one, we cannot give you any promises on that. You will need to talk to your Pratic agent about it. And then if the Pratic agent tells you no, then you can contact us to see what the cost would be, if we know any other funding agency that might be helpful, to kind of find a way that how would you be able to do the studies you wish to complete. But I would recommend that those who do have the time and interest, this is a wonderful opportunity. Pratic is waiting for you right now. So send the paperwork, and if they admit you, get in. You can apply with us immediately. If Pratik tells you no, you just let us know that the funding was denied, and we see what you want to do. If you want to withdraw, if you want to try again later, if you want to explore a part-time option. But you're very welcome to apply with us. It doesn't really oblige you to anything. No one's going to show up with a bill later on if you didn't get it accepted to Pratik. Just keep us in the loop how it goes with Pratik, and we're happy to help you.
Just two quick questions I want to answer, and that's exactly what you were saying, Lisa. If taking part-time, are the times similar? So again, if you take this program part-time, you will not be part of PRATIC. Just remember that. Can you do these programs like the 2 credit programs? You can take them part-time. We have students that are not part of PRATIC that are actually doing these programs. You just have to pay on your own. And yes, the courses are from 6 to 9. So again, contact us for that information. The other question was, I believe someone wrote in the chat that they had applied and that they had to pay the $90. So you have to pay the $90, but keep the receipt, and Service Quebec will refund you. Now, I think they only pay for the application fee for the credit programs. Am I correct, Vanessa?
Yes, for the moment it was just for the credit programs. We would have to ask for the non-credit.
So what I suggest you do is you pay the fee online, and then Pratic will reimburse you. You just need to keep your receipts. The same thing with books. If you buy books, keep the receipt, and Pratic will reimburse you. Because what we do behind the scenes is we have to send Service Quebec a lot of information concerning the fee for application. We even have to send them what books will be used, what software will be used, and how much each book or software costs. So Pratic knows the information, and if ever you do have issues with your agent, have your agent call us, or you can call us and we can call your agent.
Oh, for the finding a job while you're taking these programs, we have a very good department here at the School of Continuing Studies of professional people dedicated to help you with exactly that. Career advancement, what else? Somebody helps me. Well, what does CAT stand for?
Career and advising and transition services, CATS.
Yes, so when you're our student, you will be fully eligible to have the support of that team to help you prepare your CV, help you find a job that matches your new profile that you will have when you complete the program. That's kind of like our purpose. So this is not like, let's say, a regular program where you go do an undergrad degree somewhere. This is meant for people who have some skills, they have held some jobs, and they now want to do something else with their life. They want to learn something new, and they want to reposition themselves. So our services are directed exactly to that, to help you become the person that you would like to be, adding those little pieces of missing knowledge, missing skills that you have. And we have a team to orient you exactly on how to make this new you be more, like how to make the companies understand the new you and offer you the positions that match the new you instead of the old you.
Yeah, someone has a question here that they were accepted from Service Quebec, but to do an IT program at another institution, can they switch over and come to McGill? Our answer is yes, but again, speak to your agent and just tell them that you want to switch to McGill University.
And there was another question. I think we answered it, but perhaps it was asked a second time. So for somebody who doesn't have any experience in IT, which programs could they choose? We said that the 2 credit programs, the computers and information technology and the applied cybersecurity, just require a CJEP diploma and a language test, and the full stack JavaScript programs requires just the aptitude test. Basically, if you can pass the aptitude test, you can be admitted. So that's it. And then the cloud computing already requires a more advanced experience in the field.
We have a question for Hang. The 2 credit programs have some shared courses in the listings. So if somebody already did one and then wants to do the other one, what happens?
Yeah, those 2 programs are not designed for people to complete both programs. People are expected to complete only one of those 2. It is totally unnecessary to complete both programs. The expectation is that after completing one program, you should be well equipped to find a entry-level beginner job in the area. So the important thing is highly recommended to finish one program and look for a job and get a job. And that's where you start your career, and don't stay in school for too long, because it is more important to get working experience than studying. So completing one program is of course necessary, more or less, to give you the technical knowledge. Once you get that, concentrate and get into the job market as an entry level beginner level job, and there you accumulate your working experience and move higher from there.
Johnny, do you happen to have at hand the website or a phone number for where to contact Services Quebec regarding Pratique?
No, because there's 270 agents representing 270 regions. So depending what region you're in, because you have to go to your region, what I suggest you do is you just maybe Google Service Quebec in your wherever you live. If it's Laval, Laval. If it's Brossard, Brossard, and then it should pop up with an information with a telephone number. If you don't find it, send us an email and we can help you with that as well.
Okay, Pauline has an interesting question. Pauline's already been authorized by an agent for another program, but then that program got filled. Like there wasn't any place for her. So now she's inquiring if we have any information on whether she has to redo the process. I think that's another thing that Service Quebec can only answer.
Yeah, and I think that's the one I answered previously, because I believe the person had got accepted at another institution. So like I said, they can come to McGill, but they need to go to their agent and tell their agent, because each institution has a code, and we're only going to receive an application with the McGill code. So you go back to your agent and you just tell them that you want to switch institution and you want to come to McGill, and then they're going to change the code behind the scene. So please contact your agent.
A couple of good questions. Shiwen wants to know that if she's on maternity leave, can she still apply?
Yeah, so very good question. So this semester, we had a few students who started with PRATIC, and then they had to stop because they were on maternity leave. So what PRATIC did is they paid them for the first session, and then the time that they were off, obviously they weren't paid from PRATIC, and then they were able to come back to PRATIC. But once again, you have to notify your agent. You have to notify your agent and then notify us.
I think her plan is to take the PRATIC program during her maternity leave, so that's kind of like the other way around.
Oh,
Well, some people are very industrious.
yes,
I
yes,
do doubt.
yes.
Like, if you can't
Yeah.
leave your house anyway because you're on maternity leave, you might as well learn cybersecurity at the same time.
Yeah, so I would say the answer is yes, but again, are you eligible? Just because there's certain questions they ask you. Have you been unemployed for a certain amount of time? So my answer to you would be yes, but again, start with your agent and take it from there.
And Joel has a question on the 650 that you get every week. Just to clarify, the program is fully funded and the funded participant gets themselves the 650 per week. Yes.
Yeah, and that they keep, that you don't have to pay that back. That's money
Yeah,
that they
because
give you.
this
That's
is
where that
supposed
money
to
is.
be your job. Your job
Yeah.
will be to study this program, and the government will give you this not so impressive salary, but it's pretty nice. It's allowing
Well,
you
it's
to make
yeah,
yourself more attractive for the labor market.
yeah, but to be honest with you, it's one of the best in Quebec to be funded.
And especially if you consider what would it cost you to do this with your own money, it's definitely a kind of thing that you would like someone else to pay whenever possible.
Yeah. So if you're doing the credit courses, obviously you're a Quebec resident. Each course is roughly $390. You multiply that by 10, that's close to $4,000. And then you have to remember that you need to pay for your books and everything else. On the non-credit side, Nadia, maybe you can give out those figures, what the cost would be for the two programs.
So for the non-credit programs, it's a price per course, and they start at roughly $1,100 to $1,300 per course.
Yeah, so if you look at financially, what the government is putting out there, it's exactly, it's not a bad deal. You get to study, you get some money per week, and at the end of the day, you get a certificate from the School of Continuing Studies, Mcgill University, and that leads to bigger and better things for your career. It's really a win-win situation, if you ask me, but I'm a bit biased because I'm at Mcgill, but from what I've seen from the students we have.
Okay, for people who have summer jobs and are unsure about their availability, also please check with Service Quebec. Kadla says that they got the acceptance from the agent and the admission from McGill, and the agent told them not to pay tuition fees because they will pay. Is that right? This sounds entirely right.
Exactly.
Can we please repost the contact info with the admissions email and the client service email? Mohammed is so worried that the 115 in Duolingo is too high, that if we could bring it down. It's a little bit difficult to fiddle with the thresholds, but since we accept many different tests, and the different tests kind of like weigh differently the abilities, you could also take another test if the Duolingo one doesn't really tickle your fancy. I really like learning with Duolingo. That's all my French comes from there. I find it rather entertaining. The deadlines to finish the program. The programs are like fixed scheduled, that the program tells you when the courses will be done. So the idea is that you're supposed to take those courses at those times and pass those courses. And when the program ends, then you end. Of course, sometimes there are complications, unforeseen circumstances, and we are handling those case by case. But you are supposed to be passing these classes. If you start failing classes in a row, Pratic's not going to keep you around. You're supposed to be successful in the program, but we'll deal with it if that happens. Apply, enroll, take your classes, do your best, attend the sessions that you can, coordinate with your classmates. and then contact us when you need support, when things start to go south. The earlier you tell us that you're having difficulties, the easier it is for us to help you. And for all these people who studied outside of Canada and have specific questions about whether their papers are good, you can send an email to admissions and they will be very happy to talk about that. We cannot, unfortunately, share an experience of a PRATIC student who did cloud computing because no PRATIC student has ever done cloud computing before. But I do believe we have graduates from the cloud computing program. Isn't it like, didn't it just end, Nadia? Nadia knows?
Yes, yes, we do have graduates from that program that were not funded by PRATIC.
But so maybe we could try to convince our communications department to get in touch with some. And if you follow us on LinkedIn, we could try to get like a little interview or a story by graduates of these programs there. That would be a very good idea if we can manage the resources. But I will do my best to try to get this. A cloud computing graduate and a full stack student. Do we have graduates from that one?
No, we're still
Yeah, they're doing their final semester, so we should have cloud computing graduates that we can try to find. And of course, another option with the JavaScript program is that we have a very wonderful, easily accessible expert instructor, Bobby, whom we could reach out to if you have very content-specific questions regarding the full stack one. But yeah, that's a very good idea. We'll look into getting a cloud computing graduate interview available for you guys soon.
Thank you very much. I'm sure we were not able to cover all the questions, but if you still have, if you still need any information on these programs, you can always email us or call us or come in person to talk to us, to talk to an advisor, so that we could help you identify which program better fits your needs. I wanted to thank all the panelists for your time, and I wanted to thank all the participants. And I wish everyone a very nice rest of the day, and everyone will get the recording of this session. Thank you very much.
You don't need an appointment to come down. Somebody asked if you need an appointment. You don't need an appointment. We're open 9 to 5, Monday to Friday.
Thank you, John.
Email's open 24/7. We'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, everyone.